When doing dips, it's also a movement that's very prone to injury. Let me first show you a wrong way to do it. You can't see the left hand here, but it's just like holding a dumbbell. Basically, as long as you lower down. That's definitely wrong. When doing dips on parallel bars, if you let your hands be completely parallel to the base of your palm and just lock them in like this, that's also incorrect. That's definitely wrong. If you try to support yourself like this with your wrists hanging, all of your body weight is pressing down on your wrists, making it very easy to get injured. Also, the supporting surface is even smaller, which means that doing dips on parallel bars is even more likely to cause the small bones in your wrist to get hurt compared to doing push-ups. It's even easier to get injured, especially since many people wear a weight belt and hang weight plates from it, which makes it even more dangerous. Now, dips on parallel bars are actually a great exercise. They involve extending at the shoulder joint, and they can effectively train both the lateral and medial heads of the triceps. In other words, if you want your arms to look more three-dimensional and thicker from the front, what you see from the front is the lateral head of the triceps. The lateral head of the triceps. At this point, your arm looks more three-dimensional. So when you grip, let me show you from different angles. From this angle, what do I want you to see? I want you to see this. When I go down and come back up, the reaction force from gripping the handle acts along the vertical line of the forearm. So the forearm basically doesn't move. The forearm basically doesn't move, and then the upper arm moves toward the forearm. If you go down like this, it's all wrong because your hand is here. Your forearm has shifted away. Let me show you from another angle. Look at my forearm. It can move backward and forward, but it can't move inward or outward. If it moves outward, the wrist twists. When I move backward, it's elbow flexion and shoulder extension, right? But if I move outward, that's wrist extension. If I move inward, that's flexion. During the pressing motion, my wrist can't move around randomly. I can't let it extend or flex, so at the beginning, you can also make sure your forearm doesn't do shoulder extension either. Watch me lower it all the way down. Do it like this. When you push, the pressure point is very similar. So the more you press, the more the force is applied above the pisiform bone, and it's right along the vertical line of the forearm. In other words, as long as you keep the force pressed along the vertical line of your forearm, the pressure on your wrist will be minimized. If during the pressing motion your forearm moves outward, then your forearm isn't bearing the force, and instead, most of the pressure is on your wrist. These small bones here can't handle over 100 kilograms of body weight pressing down on them, shaking back and forth. They'll all get crushed. Like I said, there are a bunch of small bones here and not much muscle in this area. It's all tendons and ligaments here, so it doesn't have much resistance. And if you can't, make sure you're gripping it correctly. I actually don't recommend beginners to do parallel bars. Back in my 3 years of high school, every morning when I got up and swung on them, there would be a cracking sound. I don't know if it was because I did the parallel bars wrong, but what was my biggest stroke of luck? The parallel bars at my school were all very thick. They were made from welded steel pipes, so they were quite thick. And my hands are small, which meant I had a larger contact area for support. But if the school's parallel bars were like this, if the handles were this thin, why are the handles in gyms made this thin? Because they're designed to be similar to dumbbells and barbells. So the thinner the handle, the higher the demands it places on you. If this kind of handle were used in schools, it would end up causing a lot of students to train incorrectly or even get injured. The parallel bars at school are all like this. The steel pipes are very thick after being polished. Fortunately, I didn't injure my wrists. If I had, I wouldn't have been able to build much muscle later on. Plus, I naturally have small hands, so I basically always patted those thick steel bars for myself. If your hands are big but the bar is thin, then all the bones in your wrist here will get compressed and injured. Now let me teach you a way to check if your grip is correct. How do you check? Just press down like this. First, see if your hand is fully in contact with the bar, and second, try lifting your feet off the ground. Then see if your thoracic spine can push up. At this point, once you let your feet hang down and start to exert force downward, the bar should be able to push you upward. It should lift you up, but your elbow joint must not be locked or hyperextended. If at this moment your upper thoracic spine can be pushed up and your shoulder blades can stay attached, then you're doing it right. In other words, if your parallel bar support is correct, even if you only do a little, just 1/3 or 1/5 of the movement, it will look like this. But for this to happen, you need to have the right leverage, and then it will look like this. This method can effectively help the compressed upper mediastinum and the area where the upper angle of the scapula flips out to stay attached. Some people have their scapulae sticking up at the top. And then, above the fourth thoracic vertebra, that area is compressed or has a buffalo hump. If your thoracic spine is straight, but you still have a buffalo hump there, moving up and down like this will improve the stability in that area. However, women generally can't do this because it requires considerable strength. The support you provide in this way is transmitted directly through your forearms, upper arms, shoulder joints, and scapulae, reaching the upper thoracic spine. But this is a very good exercise. It can improve both the stability and flexibility in that area, and also enhance your ability to support yourself, like this. And then, otherwise, he wouldn't be able to teach this class. It's actually quite heavy. Look, from the front, when you grip it, after your thumb and index finger wrap around here, there shouldn't be any gaps here. There are absolutely no gaps. You support it like this, and if you look at my vertical line, the vertical line of the board is right in the center of my forearm. That's how you stay stable. But if you grip it like this, then there will be a gap here, right here. So when you hold it perfectly straight, you actually can't grip it tightly. At this point, all the pressure is on your wrist. So when you grip it correctly, your thumb is behind your index finger. But if you grip it incorrectly, your thumb ends up in front of your index finger. See, like this, the index finger is in front and the thumb is behind. Can you see the difference? You can't see it? Tilt it a bit more. Can you see now that the index finger is in front and the thumb is behind? Okay, like this. Isn't the thumb in front and the index finger behind? See, right? This way is wrong. This will put too much strain on your wrist. This can easily cause a triangular fibrocartilage complex injury. It's cooling down. Use your index finger in front of your thumb, and then you still need to be able to press down on the pisiform bone. After that, when your hand drops down, it should still be aligned with the vertical line of your forearm. No matter how you move up or down, it should always be done along your forearm like this. These are some support exercises. For women, if you want to do this kind of exercise, you should use a kneeling modification for assistance, because generally women can't hold themselves up in this way. Men can practice this, especially for self-training. You can use this method and approach. This is support.